I am Connor Mikolaj. My passage comes from Dickens Bleak House, chapter 35. In this passage, Esther, Charlie, and Mr. Jarndyce converse after Esther has recovered. Esther recovers from her illness to see the changes in her life. Richard has also had the misfortune to fall ill to the case of Jarndyce and Jarndyce. This scene is important as both Esther and Richard are permanently changed by their illnesses. First, I complimented Charlie on the room, and indeed it was so fresh and airy, so spotless and neat, that I could scarce believe I had been lying there so long. This delighted Charlie, and her face was brighter than before. "Yet, Charlie," said I, looking round, "I miss something surely that I am accustomed to." Poor little Charlie looked around too, and pretended to shake her head as if nothing were absent. "Are the pictures all as they used to be?" I asked her. "Every one of them, miss," said Charlie. "And the furniture, Charlie?" "Except where I moved it about, to make more room, miss." "And yet," said I miss some familiar object." "Ah, I know what it is, Charlie, it's the looking-glass." Charlie got up from the table, making as if she had forgotten something, and went into the next room, and I heard her sob there. I had thought of this very often, and I was now certain of it. I could thank God that it was not a shock to me now. I called Charlie back, and when she came, at first pretending to smile, but as she drew nearer to me, looking grieved, I took her in my arms and said, "It matters very little, Charlie. I hope I can do without my old face very well." I was presently so far advanced as to be able to sit up in a great chair, and even giddily to walk around into the adjoining room, leaning on Charlie. The mirror was gone from its usual place in that room too, but what I had to bear was none the harder to bear for that. My guardian had throughout been earnest to visit me, and there was now no good reason why I should deny myself that happiness. He came one morning, and when he first came in could only hold me in his embrace and say, "My dear, dear girl." I had long known, who could know better, and what a deep fountain of affection and generosity his heart was, and was it not worth my trivial suffering and change to fill such a place in it? Oh yes, I thought, he has seen me, and he loves me better than he did. He has seen me and is fonder than me than he was before, and what I have to mourn for. He sat down by me on the sofa, supporting me with his arm. For a little while he sat with his hand over her face, but when he removed it, fell into his usual manner. There never can be a pleasanter manner. "My little woman," said he, "what a sad time this has been, such an inflexible little woman too through it all." "Only for the best, guardian," said I. "For the best?" he repeated tenderly. "Of course for the best. But here have Ada and I perfectly forlorn and miserable. Here has your friend Caddy been coming and going, late and early. Here has every one about the house been utterly lost and dejected. Here has even poor Rick been writing to me, to you, in his anxiety for you." I had read of Caddy in Ada's letters, but not of Richard. I told him so. "Why, no, my dear," he replied. "I have thought it better not to mention it to her." "And you speak of his writing to you," said I, repeating in emphasis, "as if it were not natural for him to do so, guardian, as if he could write to a better friend." "He thinks he could, my love," returned my guardian, "and to many a better. The truth is, he wrote to me under a sort of protest, while unable to write to you with any hope of answer, wrote coldly, haughtily, distantly, resentfully. Well, dearest little woman, we must look forbearingly on it. He is not to blame. Jarndyce and Jarndyce has warped him out of himself and perverted me in his eyes. I know it do as bad deeds and worse many a time. If two angels could be concerned in it, I believe it would change their nature. It has not changed yours, guardian." "Oh, yes it has, my dear," he said laughingly. "It has made the south wind easterly, and I don't know how often Rick mistrusts me and suspects me, goes to lawyers and is taught to mistrust and suspect me. Here as I have conflicting interests, claims clashing against his and whatnot, whereas heaven knows that if I could get out of the mountains of Wigglomation on which my unfortunate name has been so long bestowed, or could level them by the extinction of my own right, I would do it this hour."